Hey, and hey, it's Leopardess and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss how to get thicker locks. So before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Also follow me on Instagram at Leopardess_. So this topic is a little tricky because there's two ways. So some of you guys are probably watching this in the starter lock phase and some of you guys are probably watching this in the mature phase. So what I'm going to talk about first is how to get thicker locks, how to plan for thicker locks in the starter lock phase. I feel like it's very important and is the fundamentals for the future. So we're going to get into the starter locks first. The first way to get thicker locks, as someone just watching this with loose natural hair or someone who has freshly done starter lock or willing to start over if they wanted to, is to understand your density. So we've all had loose natural hair at one point. Like I said, you're probably watching this with loose natural hair. So when you had loose natural hair, or if you have loose natural hair, what is the density of your hair? Do you have thin hair? Do you have thick hair? Is your hair like, you know, in between? I feel like those things are very important. So for me personally, I had, like, I would say in between. My hair wasn't really thick, but it wasn't very thin. It was just normal. No one was like, oh my gosh, your hair is thick. But no one was also like, your hair is thin. So where do you fall on that spectrum? Okay, that's the first thing that you need to think of. What was your hair density like? The second thing that I would say that's important to create in thicker starter locks is to understand your lock to part ratio. So previously I just talked about density of hair. Let's start with mine. So I had medium hairs. If I did bigger parts, it would be thicker, but it probably wouldn't be as thick as somebody who had really thick hair. For me personally, I have 72 locks. I wanted medium sized locks. I specifically went in there, I said I don't want them too big and I don't want them too small. I want them just in the middle. Also, something that's very important is making sure that your hair is staggered, I would say. I feel like creating staggered hair creates much thicker and heavier looking hair. If you have your hair just parted all the way down in one section, not gonna look as full, especially if you have thin hair. But if you staggered it, those hairs can come in between and fill up that gap, which kind of creates the illusion of thicker hair. So like I said, if you have thinner hair, I would go with less parts if you want thicker locks. Thicker hair, that lock to part ratio is very important. So when you're doing your hair, when you're doing your starter locks and you want thicker locks, make sure that that lock to part ratio is done based on the density of your hair. If you already in a starter lock phase and you know you don't like the thickness of your locks, one thing that I can recommend is the semi-freeform or slightly freeform. Same thing basically as what I just said. So for me personally, when you leave your hair to just lock, it does come out fuller and thicker as opposed to constantly retwisting it. So if you don't like the base or the size of your locks, what you can do is allow your hair to semi-freeform. For semi-freeforming, it basically allows like slight manipulation so you can retain your parts and make sure everything is all good. But at the same time, allow your hair to lock naturally out of your head as opposed to like twisting it. I would recommend that. I have seen that when locks at the root are a little thicker. So if you have starter locks and that's something that you want to do, definitely look into it because you are at an early stage. And methods that you use can definitely change the course of your hair. If you want to do that, I would say do like every 3 months, like a retwist or something of that sort, or just do it based on how it works for your hair. But that's definitely a good method and something that I've done in the past. Another thing I will say is to keep your locks moisturized. This seems very simple, and it is. Keep your locks moisturized. When my locks are not moisturized, they look dead. And I'm telling you, that little bit of moisture that you put in your hair can drastically change how your locks look. So now this is for the mature phase. This is for you guys who are matured, you like over like a year and a half, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So I'm at my 3rd year, and some methods that you can do to have thicker locks when your locks are already mature and they're like, all right, we figured it out, is combine locks. Oftentimes people combine their locks in order to have thicker locks, and that's totally okay. And it's a method that you can use when your locks are already mature. And you can also use this when you have starter locks as well. You can combine your locks. If you don't want to start over, you can just combine them together. Also, a good method for mature locks is semi-freeforming. Like I said, when you allow your hair to semi-freeform, for me personally, like I didn't retwist for like 3 months one time, and like I felt my root like locking, and it was very nice and thick, and I was very pleased by that. I don't want my roots to be thinner than the locks here. I would actually like them to grow a little like thicker. So semi freeforming works great for locks that are mature as well. Another thing as well is less retwisting. This has to do with the semi freeforming, just allowing your hair to lock from the head. And honestly, there's reasons why I don't always do this, but sometimes I do, but I'll explain that in another video. For this, you can check it out. Stop palm rolling. Palm rolling just condenses the locks, and over time, if you rub anything like that, it will wear out, meaning that your locks will get smaller, especially if you started with like medium length. It can get thinner over time. So I would say, you know, calm down on the palm rolling, or do it less, or don't do it at all. And finally, the last thing is to keep your locks moisturized. I can't stress this a lot. Like sometimes people think like something is wrong with their locks, they look dingy or whatever. And most of the times too, it's just lack of moisturization. Like I said, my hair comes alive. I moisturize it. Like when it's not moisturized, I could tell, I could see it, I can hear it like telling, help me, help. So make sure you keep your locks moisturized, you prevent breakage, and it creates a nice, fuller, thick, more bouncy, voluptuous look. But thank you guys so much for watching. My website will be open this Thursday, leopardesscollection.com. Shop jewelry, shop hair, all that good stuff. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel, and also follow me on Instagram at leopardess_. And in the comments below, are you in the star lock phase, or are you in the mature phase? And what are some things that you do to retain thickness in your locks? I love to create a community in my comment. Feel free to comment, but I appreciate you guys so much. Bye.